Hello there and a very good evening. This is Primetime News on TV1 for the News First team. I am Dasani Athauda. Now, the world witnessed the fastest man at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics this evening. We have that story and many more coming your way. But first, let's take a look at your top stories for tonight.
Administering the second dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine commences at various locations across the country. 24-hour inoculation program at the Vihara Mahadevi Park in Colombo. Global COVID-19 cases including Sri Lanka on the rise. A warning from the World Health Organization. All state sector employees to report to work from tomorrow. Interprovincial bus and train services resume. Teachers and principals' protests enter the 21st day. Vehicle parade opposing the KDU bill reaches Colombo.
In your latest COVID-19 update, Sri Lanka recorded 2,490 new COVID-19 cases today, the 1st of August. Official figures indicate that the country's total tally of COVID-19 cases has risen to 311,349. The Health Services Director General has also confirmed 67 more COVID-19 deaths for yesterday, the 31st of July. Now, this includes 31 females and 36 males. 56 people were above the age of 60.
The World Health Organization Sri Lanka has said that COVID-19 cases are rising globally, including in Sri Lanka. It cautions that this is driven by the highly transmissible Delta variant, increased social gatherings, inconsistent health measures and unequal vaccination. In a tweet, the WHO's office in Sri Lanka said, quote, hard-won gains are in jeopardy and health systems are being overwhelmed, unquote, due to this situation.
Meanwhile, the second dose of the AstraZeneca vaccines were administered in the Colombo and Gampaha districts since this morning. The Health Ministry said that the jabs would be administered in more than 20 locations.
The second dose of the AstraZeneca jab is being administered at selected hospitals, MOH offices and at certain locations with the support of Sri Lanka Army. The Sri Lanka Army began administering the jabs half an hour earlier than the scheduled time of 7 a.m. as large crowds gathered to receive the vaccine. Thousands of people visited the Vihara Mahadevi Park in Colombo, in which vaccines are being administered with the support of the Sri Lanka Army. The vaccines were administered swiftly at the location.
This vaccination centre will remain open for 24 hours based on the concept of the Army Commander. Vaccines will be administered during the day and at night as well to allow people who are on busy schedules to obtain it.
Can the second dose be obtained if the vaccination card has been misplaced?
We will provide the jabs to those who have misplaced their cards. There is no problem with that. But the MOH officers will have to issue the vaccination cards again. We will not be doing it at this location.
When we arrived here at around 7:30, we saw large crowds gathered here to receive the second dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine. It should be noted that operations here at this vaccination center is completely handled and managed by the Sri Lanka Army with adherence to strict health guidelines. So we urge the general public, if you are a person who received the first dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine, come here to this location and get the second jab of the AstraZeneca vaccine. I'm Senator Senanayaka reporting for News First.
The second dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine was administered successfully at the Sri Lanka Army's Sri Bodhirajarama temple in Panagoda. The jabs were also administered at the PD Sirisena grounds in Maligawatta and the Sugatadasa Indoor Stadium with the support of the Sri Lanka Air Force. The Sri Lanka Army took steps to efficiently distribute the second dose of the vaccine at the Kirillavala Mahavidyalaya in Kadawata as crowds gathered since morning. The inoculation program also took place at Maristella College in Negombo. People can also obtain vaccines from tomorrow until Wednesday at the Diyata Uyana in Battaramulla.
We won't run out of vaccines. We received 728,000 AstraZeneca vaccines yesterday alone. The entire number awaiting the second dose of this vaccine is 540,000. Therefore, everyone who received the first jab of the AstraZeneca vaccine will receive the second dose. Don't create a false assumption that the jabs must be obtained within today. We will continue administering vaccines until those who obtain the first dose of the AstraZeneca jab in Sri Lanka receive the second dose.
The Ministry of Public Services, provincial councils and local government has instructed state sector employees to report to work as usual from tomorrow by adhering to COVID-19 regulations.
The circular instructing all state sector employees to report to work has been issued by the Ministry of Public Services, provincial councils and local government. According to the circular, expectant mothers in state sector services will have to report to work from tomorrow as well.
What steps must be taken by state sector employees who cannot report to work?
The Ministry of Public Services, provincial councils and local government noted that any employee who is unable to report to work due to unavoidable circumstances can notify their relevant employees of their absence. It added that employees facing such a situation are allowed to use their entitled leave. The ministry said it had issued the circular in line with the instructions given by the Secretary to the President to resume state sector operations without any hindrance since a majority of the state sector employees have been vaccinated. It added that all previous circulars that contained instructions to limit the number of staff and to encourage employees to work from home will be automatically revoked. Meanwhile, the Government Nursing Officers Association has expressed its views on the circular.
Employees can't work in the state sector by maintaining social distancing. Hospitals haven't turned away infected people. Health services were not hampered simply because there were few employees and some had gone on sick leave. With that being the case, why are people on leave, including expectant mothers, being asked to report to work? What is the problem with them? Isn't there a single intelligent person in the task force? There are small COVID-19 clusters. Several infected people are receiving treatment at the National Hospital. Therefore, there is no point of asking all employees to report to work. This is a move that will contribute to the spread of the virus. We wish to request the President's Secretary to avoid inconveniencing expectant mothers.
State Minister Dilum Amunugama said that interprovincial bus and train services have resumed from today, and he also said that these public transport services will operate as per the regular schedule.
Buses operating from Colombo Fort to other provinces resumed services today. Our correspondent reported that trains did not operate from other provinces to the Fort railway station. Meanwhile, buses from the Kandy bus halt entered Colombo today. However, the police took steps to turn away buses entering the Western Province from the Northwestern Province. This was near the Thopua Bridge in Kochikade. As a result, passengers had to cross the provincial boundary on foot. Various views were expressed today about state sector employees reporting to work from tomorrow and the prevailing COVID-19 situation in the country.
The Delta variant of the COVID-19 virus is rapidly spreading in Sri Lanka at the moment. Today, there are no beds in hospitals for COVID-19 patients. The situation at the National Hospital is quite similar to the situation at the IDH. Patients can only find a bed at a private hospital, that too with the greatest difficulty. The country is nearing an abyss at the moment. A specialist told me that Brisbane in Australia had to be shut down because a positive patient was found from the area. In Sri Lanka, however, 2,500 positive cases are being reported in a day, and the government has decided to open the country tomorrow. That is the sad reality at present. Sri Lanka's prominent virologist Malik Piris is in Hong Kong. As a citizen of Sri Lanka, he speaks about the country. What does he say? He says that a disastrous situation will exist in the country by mid-August, September or October. When such warnings have been issued, all state sector employees have been asked to report to work from Monday. The Public Administration Secretary has issued a circular to resume services as usual. Is this the right decision? This is how they are making decisions during the COVID-19 pandemic. Is the government trying to make people scapegoats? Although the government is making various remarks, if they had administered vaccines on time to the 4,380 deceased people, their lives could have been protected. As far as we know, the government is not agreeing with the advice of health authorities. They want the country to reopen to protect the economy. However, they must protect the lives of the people before protecting the economy. There is a danger. We can't rule it out. But we cannot continue with these restrictions. Countries that are richer than us are also operating state services while facing this situation. When state services operate, it is the people who benefit through this. The government won't earn any special profit. The government has made this decision for the people. We will adhere to the health guidelines. Talks are being held at present. People are out on the streets, visiting stores and conducting ceremonies. When all this is happening, it is not good to keep public services closed. This decision has been made based on these factors.
Meanwhile, opposition leader Sajith Premadasa has expressed his views on the instructions issued to state employees to report to work from tomorrow. This was during a meeting in Lunagam Vehera. They're saying that the country would be reopened tomorrow. All state sector employees have been asked to report to work. Did they even consider that these employees might have children? Aren't they expectant mothers? Have they issued these instructions to report to work by taking their safety into account? This country has now realized that we need a sensitive government. This country does not need individuals who create artificial situations. They must pay attention to the people and their grievances. We need a government that will prioritize the needs of the people, not just by their words, but through their actions.
We'll be back after this short commercial break. Stay tuned.
Bellboy's got you covered. Download Bellboy today to get all your household appliance fixing and repairs done. Now available on Android and iOS.
Welcome back to the news. A decision on declaring the teachers and principal services as a closed service and resolving their salary anomalies will be made at tomorrow's cabinet meeting. Meanwhile, protests were staged across the country demanding a solution to their salary anomalies.
Members of trade unions representing teachers and principals staged a protest in New Delhi demanding a solution to their salary anomalies. Teachers have withdrawn from online teaching, submitting applications for advanced level exam candidates, conducting practical tests for aesthetic students and refraining from exam supervision duties as part of their trade union action.
The government says that they don't have funds. They seem to have funds for other activities, but they don't have funds for education. We wish to urge the President to take the leadership and to stop such activities that are affecting teachers. We wish to tell the government that we did not gather here to topple them. Their sustenance will depend on how they handle the power of the people.
Meanwhile, the Parents Forum in Kandy staged a protest demanding authorities resolve these issues and resume online lessons for their children.
We wish to urge the government to resolve these issues so that our children can attend classes. We are not ready to abide by the priorities of the government. All of us gathered here to give out this message.
Meanwhile, trade unions representing teachers and principals have emphasized that their future course of action would be decided based on the decision made by the cabinet tomorrow.
Parents have taken to the streets and are demanding for the issues of teachers to be resolved. It is by resolving it that their children would be able to learn. Parents have given that message through their protests. Some claim that these are not actual teachers and that they have been given rice packets and 2,000 rupees to participate in a protest. If possible, prove that there was a single person who was not a teacher. Don't stoop to such low levels. Those who are urging us to avoid asking for increments are allocating packages for various projects. They are not taking care of teachers who are a vital component in the country's future development activities and progress. If we receive a feasible solution through tomorrow's cabinet proposal, then there would be no issue. We will resort to harsher measures if we don't receive a response that we expect.
Many joint organizations engaged in protest today demanding the withdrawal of the Kotalavala Defence University Bill.
Representatives of the Intermedical Faculty Students Action Committee, the Intercompany Employees Union, university professors and students reached the Lipton roundabout from Nugeguda in a vehicle parade today. Our request regarding the KDU bill is simple. We are only against the move to hand over our education to the military. We are a country that has been politically divided. The politicians have taken maximum advantage of that division to loot money. But I am forcing a beautiful sign. Our entire nation is gradually starting to unite. I would like to tell the government to accept this sign. We might not be people who you would expect to come to the streets in this manner and criticize the government, but we have no option but to leave our personal affairs and take to the streets because we cannot sit and wait until the education we received is being taken away from our future generations. Even if you pass the KDU bill in Parliament, we will defeat it on the streets. That is the message that we wanted to convey by coming here today. The government is threatening the forces who are opposing these ridiculous decisions taken by the government. The teachers of this country have come together demanding to resolve their salary anomalies if this government can spend money and import vehicles and open fitness centres. The KDU bill, which will mark the death of free education in Sri Lanka, has been presented in Parliament. I would like to remind the government that they were taught by teachers as well. People who know the value and importance of Sri Lankan education have taken to the streets now. We will not fail to stand by your child's right to free education as well.
A protest was organised in Trincomalee today demanding the authorities to withdraw the Kotalawala Defence University Bill. The protest was organised by the United Front against the Kotalawala Defence University Bill. The group of protesters reached the Trincomalee town from the Marathadiya junction in Trincomalee.
Today marks a week since the demise of Mr. R. Raja Mahendran, the chairman of the Capital Maharaja Group.
An alms-giving program was held at the Hunupitiya Gangaramaya temple on behalf of the late Mr. R. Raja Mahendran. Executive Group Director of Electronic Media Business of the Capital Maharaja Group, Nidra Veerasinghe, Executive Group Director of Human Resources, Surang Jalat, and the Chief Executive Officer of MTV and M Entertainment, Attorney at Law, Susara Dinal, were among those present.
He mostly believed that he must fulfill the services expected from him by the people. Several people worked under him. We knew him very well. Organizing an alms-giving program to invoke blessings on him is something that can be done by everyone who respects humanity. We hope and pray for Mr. R. Raja Mahendran to be born among us once again.
मेदाने संग सतगल पूजा करा साठ परिखारा सपरिखारा संग सदी
An alms-giving program was also held at the Agra Shravaka Vihara in Maradana in memory of the late Mr. R. Raja Mahendran. Executive Group Director S.C. Veerasekara and employees of Lanka Private Limited were present at this almsgiving.
A Dhamma sermon was held at the Mahabodhi Temple yesterday. The Mahabodhi Temple, the Mahabodhi Society and the Eslon Company organized an almsgiving program this afternoon to invoke blessings on Mr. R. Raja Mahendran. Regardless of the religion that he practiced, people of all faiths prayed for his afterlife to be blessed. He paid attention to all religions. He fulfilled all services towards Buddhism, which is the main religion in this country. He didn't depart us with his brand name, money or assets. He only carried his good deeds with him. I'm from Rajagahanura in India. Almsgiving programs are being held at present. These programs were first held in Rajagahanura, that is when Lord Buddha preached the practice of conducting almsgiving programs. Therefore, we should be happy that a monk from Rajagahanura came here to invoke blessings on Mr. Kili Maharaja.
An An alms-giving program was held at ICL Brands, a subsidiary of the Capital Maharaja Group, on behalf of the late Mr. R. Rajamahendran. Dignitaries including Executive Group Director of the Capital Maharaja Group, Shanti Bagiradan, were present at the occasion. Several alms-giving programs took place across the country today on behalf of the late Mr. R. Rajamahendran, who served as the chairman of the Capital Maharaja Group. An alms-giving program was held under the patronage of the chief incumbent of the Nelligala International Buddhist Centre, Venerable Vaturukumure Dhammaratana Thero.
R. Rajamahendran මැතිතුමා විටක අපිට යාළුවෙක් වගේ විටක අපිට පියවරේ.
Mr. R. Rajamahendran was a friend, father and a brother to us. His support to us was immense. Although this place was once a forest, Mr. R. Rajamahendran came here in person and inspected the area and provided his support to construct this centre.
Alms-giving programs were also held in memory of Mr. R. Rajamahendran in other parts of the country as well.
Sri Lankan Airlines resumed direct flights to Russia after 6 years this week.
Sri Lankan Airlines says it would operate flights to Russia every Friday, accommodating 269 economy and 28 business class seats. Each flight will have a duration of around 8 hours and 25 minutes. The national air carrier's inaugural flight was welcomed with a water salute at Moscow's Domodedovo airport yesterday. The first flight from Russia landed at the Bandaranaike International Airport today.
We had altogether 51, which with the transit passengers, 37 disembarking into Colombo, and they have had 14 days quarantine in Moscow before coming in, and they came with a negative PCR report, and it is a great opportunity for tourist industry as well and for the country to have foreign nationals coming into the country. All passengers are well prepared for the tour because it's going to be 1 month, and they are in a air bubble, bio bubble actually, because it's very important for the country to ensure that also we take care of all the safety guidelines and ensure safety and comfort of all the tourists as well as the citizens of Sri Lanka.
My Dentist, quality smiles.